Welcome to Counterpoints Friday, although it's Wednesday here in the studio. And Ryan...
Let's not think too hard about it.
Right. And Ryan is nothing if not a man of the people. So he wants to say we're listening, and intro music, we're open to suggestions. We agree. We think intro music is super fun. And if you have suggestions, let us know.
Right. We got
a
number of pieces of advice, and one of the most useful ones was, hey, how about some intro music? So yeah, if you have anything, recommend it to us. You can tweet it at us, or you can put it in the comments. I had suggested I said a little piece of Tweezer reprised might be like the upbeat tempo to it.
He sent in a text with Sagar and Crystal. He was sending all of these fish videos. Nobody responded.
So we might just go with those because no objections.
Yeah, that's right. We didn't object.
All right.
That's not how it works. We're going to be talking about the midterms now, speaking of how cruel of a world it actually is. But we're doing a little bit of an update that I think is, again, quite interesting because some of these races that we were talking about in the summer are shifting. Cook Political Report has moved Pennsylvania from lean Dem to a toss-up, which is kind of a big deal in Beltway circles whenever Cook Political Report shifts, because it can also be a sign of where money might be shifting. So the race between John Fetterman and Dr. Oz, I can't believe I just said John Fetterman and Dr. Oz, the two candidates, Dr. Oz. But anyway, that is really narrowing. This is a quote from Nate Cohn at the Upshot for the New York Times. On average, Republicans have gained 3 points across 19 Labor Day polls of the key Senate battleground states. Cohn points specifically to Pennsylvania, Wisconsin, where Ron Johnson is up against Mandela Barnes, and then Nevada, which is a race you've been tapping into a little bit too, Ryan, with Catherine Cortez Masto getting in a really close race that it looks like actually she might lose to Adam Laxalt.
Right, and we talked about this a little last week. Laxalt is a standard bog Republican that is unobjectionable, doesn't scare away the suburban voters in the same way that, some of the other J.D. Vance or Blake Masters or somebody or Trump or somebody like that might. And at Cortez Masto, fine, popular,
same
kind of bog standard Democrat. Nevada has been absolutely annihilated by COVID. The lockdowns, the economic shutdown was, particularly brutal for the entertainment industry and the travel industry. And so, when you have casinos that are just empty for a year plus, you're going to have a lot of people angry, and they're going to take it out on the party in power.
Well, how is Catherine Cortez Masto handling that? Because Democrats, I think their COVID messaging, you've seen a shift in it, I think very intentionally, with Joe Biden saying the pandemic is over, and then actually getting hit from the left for saying the pandemic is over and having to make excuses for it. But Democrats are intentionally, I think, shifting their messaging because they realize the public is genuinely ready for it to be over.
And she's certainly been among the more moderate on this because she's on the ground. She recognizes how important this is, to her, to the economy of the state that she represents. But because of our kind of partisan divide and the partisan valence that all of this is seen through, if you're a Democrat, you get branded no matter what. If you're a Republican, no matter what you're saying, you're going to get branded by whatever the Republican approach to this is. So there's only so much that she can do to kind of separate herself from the National Party. At this point, I think she and Democrats are just hoping that abortion, that Dobbs and Roe v. Wade, is going to be enough to push her over the top. But in Nevada, it might not register in the same way it does around the rest of the country.
Right, but then another factor, as you mentioned and alluded to, is in some of these races where you have a J.D. Vance or a Blake Masters or a Dr. Oz, who I think it's a kind of an open question as to whether he's a net benefit or a net loss in suburbs. Someone who's been popular in homes across the country was actually sort of hand-selected for daytime television by Oprah herself. So, it's an open question, I think, to that extent. But he's been closing in on Fetterman. Fetterman has not been himself, clearly, since he suffered that stroke back in May, and I think it's been really difficult for him after that happened, and as his health is still you can see kind of faltering. He's not the same guy. It's hard to make some of those punches land in the same way that he's trying to really go on offense against Oz, but I'm not sure it's easy when you can't have these videos of you being sort of out on the trail and in interviews, being as you need to be in a situation like his, really having the wind at your back and energetic and just going in for it, and that's tough in a situation like Fetterman's. Yeah,
and the news story, and I think we can put this up, but Jezebel reported, there's a cliche in American politics that a politician will say they're accusing me of everything, including like hating puppies.
Yeah.
Raphael Warnock even ran a really great ad.
Yes.
Where he was saying, look, they're accusing me of everything, including hating puppies, and look, I love puppies, and he picks up a puppy. And then there was a scandal that it wasn't actually his puppy.
Which is a bold-faced lie.
But the scandal with Dr. Oz is he would have killed that puppy. So
no, he would have experimented.
He would have experimented
first
on it and then killed it. Now, he personally apparently was not doing the actual executions of these puppies.
Right.
But he was overseeing and responsible for animal experiments that killed more than 300 puppies, and which appeared to be in violation of the Animal Welfare Act, and which Colombia paid a fine for in 2004, though stood by Dr. Oz as a good doctor. But I guess mistakes were made times 300.
And again, like this is all public, in the public domain, basically, and it has been since, for 20 years, basically, at this point. And so it feels like an October surprise type situation where Jezebel, you leak it to a liberal outlet like Jezebel, some Dem group leaks it to them, but you don't really have to leak it because it's in the public, but you just say, hey, check this out. Have you seen Dr. Oz's puppy experiments? I don't know, Ryan. I don't think that makes a dent in the race. What about you? I think it's going to be a super close race. We'll see.
Cable news is ripping us apart, dividing the country, making it impossible to function as a society, and making it impossible to know just what is true and what is false. But the good news is they are failing and they know it.
That is why we're building something new, a new mainstream, a healthier one, something more trustworthy, something that we are going to need in one of the most pivotal times in American history. We are building up here for the midterms, for the upcoming presidential election, but we need your help. So if you can help us out by becoming a premium member today at breakingpoints.com, we're trying to change America for the better and the entire world.
So what are you waiting for, guys? Go to breakingpoints.com and sign up and help us build a new mainstream.